Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Saco City Council meeting for Monday, February 2nd, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. Would like to make note of all councilors present this evening, with the exception of City Administrator Pelletier, who is excused, and in his place tonight we do have Deputy City Administrator Prescott with us. Would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to item 4 under general tonight. We have a very couple of special recognitions that we would like to do. First off this evening, we would like to recognize Coach Kiesel. As the head coach of the Thornton Academy football team, Kevin Kiesel has achieved unmatched success. This season marked Coach Kiesel's 7th straight trip to the Maine Class A state title game and his 10th appearance overall. With this year's championship, he has now earned an incredible 7 state titles. And this year, he was named the 2025 SMAA Mike Landry Coach of the Year yet again. With the win against Portland in this year's state championship game, Coach Kiesel reached his 200th career victory, bringing his record to a remarkable 200 wins with only 56 losses. This 7th state championship ties the record for the most Class A state championships won by any coach in Maine history. Perhaps most impressive of all, since his first state championship win in 2012, every player who has been part of Coach Kiesel's program for 3 of their high school years has walked away with a state championship. That level of sustained excellence is extraordinary. For more than 2 decades, Coach Kiesel has built a program defined not only by championships, but by character, discipline, compassion, and teamwork. His influence reaches far beyond the field, inspiring his players to strive for excellence in every aspect of their lives. In the last 26 years as a teacher and coach at Thornton Academy, no individual has put more time and effort into his students, our school, our community than Coach Kiesel has. We congratulate and thank him for his leadership, dedication, and most of all, the pride that he brings to Thornton Academy. Congratulations, and thank you very much. Okay, in addition to that great news, second off, we would like to recognize the entire Thornton Academy football team. On November 22nd, 2025, the Thornton Academy football team won the Class A Maine State Championship, beating Portland 28-0. The team finished with an impressive 11-1 season. We are incredibly proud to recognize the outstanding achievement of the Thornton Academy football team, and as they once again have brought home the state championship title. This victory is a result of their hard work, dedication, and teamwork, both on and off the field. The team was led by Coach Kiesel and consisted of, please bear with me, we have a very long list of wonderful players, and I do apologize early if I have mispronounced any of your names. Carter Moody, Simon Gillis, Sam Rondo, Noah Fullerton, Aiden Morin, Dominic Hussey, captain, Carter Cormier, Nathan Neely, Quinn Cook, Ben Knox, Brennan Tabor, Steve O. Jones, Will Edborg, Hayden Warren, Clark Iob, Danny Howe, Owen Thompson, Yinao Kim, Andrew Conley, Jonathan Valisis, Joshua Blaine, Joey Lance, Caleb Cormier, Connor Ayub, captain, Trent Wilson, Grady Hershey, captain, Parker Clinch, Sebastian Snyder, Paolo Abera, Braden Hooper, Braden Acorn, Braxton Lebrecq, Kevin Kim, Chase Paquette, Prolomini Tyler, Anthony Tarr, Jacob Pelton, Colin Thompson, captain, Colby Agent, Jaden Stearns, Quinn Purvis, Blaine Sicard, Curtis Nason, captain, Dalton Sousa, Quentin Avent, Chase Daigle, Michael Berry, Joseph Malouf, Levi Butler, Bryce Morgan, Calvin Remain, David Morelli, Ryan Cody, Shima Gift, Hozu Sa, Sam Tamburgai, Sam Leary, Taylor Ackerman, Sebastian Rowe, Cameron Hewitt, Lance McKay, Sam Ally, Cahill Hall, Adam Fredrickson, Logan LeBlanc, Shabeen Kim, Gavin Heiger, Brody Hadieris, Wyatt Ashbog, and Jameen Lee. Congratulations, boys. Wonderful year, and I just, as a proud Thornton graduate myself, I can't thank you guys enough. Okay, and with that, we have one more recognition. I'd like to recognize the following individual award winners. Connor Ayub was named the Maine Gatorade Player of the Year. Dave Allen, Southern Class A Player of the Year. Max Prep Maine Football Player of the Year, and the James J. Fitzpatrick Trophy winner. Colin Thompson and Jameen Lee earned the Frank J. Gaziano Lineman of the Year Award nomination. Sam Rondo was nominated for the Maine chapter of the National Football Foundation Scholar Athlete Award, and Kevin Kiesel was named the Mike Landry Coach of the Year Award. I, along with the City Council, would like to recognize these players for their tireless work, the dedication to the sport, and that your Saco community is extremely proud of all of you. Again, thank you very much. Okay, with that, I would like to invite the players and the coaches up front for a quick photo.
Joe, do you want us to move out of the way?
One, two, three. One more. One, two, three.
So I want to thank the team. They presented me with a state championship medal and a patch to go proudly in my office.
Yep. Just a few minutes ago, so I'm hoping it. Sounds good. Arrow? Or space bar. Okay.
Great, thank you, everyone. Appreciate that. All right, moving on to item B under the general tonight. We do have a presentation by Greg LaRue, who is going to give us a quick update on where we stand with our purchasing policy and the review ordinance that we were hoping to get on this done. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Greg LaRue. I'm the consultant that was brought in to help review the current policy. I have approximately 30 years of, as finance director for a number of different communities, including over a dozen years at the city of South Portland. So I have pretty good understanding of purchasing and policies that a community develops over the years. I'm not going to be as exciting as your first item here, the Thornton Academy's state championship. So if I see you start nodding off, I'll try to wrap it up quickly. See if I can get this work. So the existing policy has essentially 7 sections, and I'm going to focus primarily on the regulations, because that's really where the meat and potatoes is within the policy. I'll give you kind of a quick overview of the purpose, the different sections. The purpose really just spells out the responsibilities and the authority that the policy provides. It attempts to make things as consistent as possible and fair to the vendors. Competition is fundamental within the policy, and we try to strengthen that as much as possible within the revisions. Hopefully, it tries to control expenditures and essentially provides to enhance public trust in the policy. So, the basis for the policy is your Chapter 38 within the code. And all city staff are responsible and must abide by the procedures within the policy. See if I get this right here. Ultimately, the policy purpose is to spend the taxpayers' money only on items that accomplish the city's goals and not to discriminate. There are a number of definitions within the policy, and we've done a number of adds to basically better define certain elements. One of the items that's still in the drafting stage is this alternatives purchasing process. And that's when you bring in, utilize the construction manager or the design build. Wasn't in the policy. The city has had a couple instances where they've utilized it, so we're incorporating that, those options within the policy itself. There's a principal section here, and what that tries to do is encourage ethical and sustainable businesses. It encourages minority-owned businesses, women-owned business, and disabled-owned businesses. It supports veterans and local businesses. There's a provision here which talks about your conflicts of interest, which are expressly prohibited, and you have a policy on conflicts and ethics that's also separate and distinct from this policy, but it needs to be adhered to. It also encourages conservation and natural resources. The policy is essentially requires that purchases are in three categories. You get your small purchases, which are primarily for items that are relatively small, $5,000 and under. Intermediate purchases step up the scope of what's required. And for those intermediate purchases, between $5,000 and $25,000, you have a much more stringent requirement that there is what we call an informal bidding process. And that was something that wasn't really specified within the policy before, so we've expanded in that intermediate category what's required within the informal bidding practices. So those informal bidding requires at a minimum 2 bids, but there's a preference for 3 bids. There's clearly a competitive element that needs to occur within those informal bidding practice, and there needs to be a notice. And the notice is a little less stringent than when you get into the formal process of formal bids. And lastly is the necessity to maintain records that support the decisions made in that informal practice. So within the regulations, we've also expanded on the designated authority. And there was provisions there that allowed for the department head to get authorization to allow people in their department to have certain authorities. So we've also expanded on that in regards to the city administrator's role. The assistant city manager has some authority that can be granted to the assistant administrator, and the same is true for the finance office. There's certain functions and authority that can be provided to the deputy finance director. In the informal bidding, the department head will have authority under the proposed change to authorize purchases up to $10,000. And that is pretty consistent to what I see in other communities in that. So that was a slight change that we ticked it up from a slightly less number to a $10,000 authorization. And all purchases in excess of that $10,000 require administrator or his or her designee to approve those informal bidding practices. On the large purchases, this is where you get into the more competitive formal bidding. And we've done some revisions, but that was pretty solid in nature of what was there. One thing that we did add is in the notice requirement, and it's something that I'm told that the notice process, you know, who reads the newspaper anymore? That's pretty limited, much more online. And we've also added online bid platform. That's something that the city is going to consider. I've seen it elsewhere, and it's been very successful, and it's very transparent. It comes with a cost, however, so that's something that administration will be looking into, but we've made it available within the notice requirements. Bids are the main function of that practice. And we've outlined the bidding requirements, the public opening of the bids, evaluation of the bids, and all bids are awarded based on a recommendation by the department head, based on the lowest responsible and responsive bidder. And that is something that departments have to take into heart. You know, a bid, just because it's the lowest, may not be your best bid. And that is all part of the evaluative process that needs to occur within a bidding environment. Here, oops, excuse me, go back here. Approvals are elevated to the city administrator or the finance director. So, one of the areas that we've added is the RFQ process. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't something that was in the current policy, but it's a very effective means to evaluate bidders or potential bidders, and it really streamlines the process to get the best qualified bidders to the table and evaluate their credentials on larger professional service contracts. So it's a process that wasn't really outlined in the current policy, so we've added it. And we've essentially made some provisions there that allow you to understand when it's appropriate to be used, and et cetera. We've also expanded a little bit on the proposal section in E9. And then we've introduced this alternative methods of project delivery, which I mentioned before, which is in regards to construction manager at risk, and construction manager advisor, and design build. It's something we're still working on to fine-tune that section, so it isn't quite ready for public presentation at this point. There were provisions within the exceptions to the purchasing formal bid process. You had a pretty good section on sole source. What we've done, one thing that we did is to incorporate a form when you use sole source that you have to complete that documents and provides the rationale for why you're using that sole source. So it's just basically formalizing and putting in place a form that basically outlines that requirement, that why you're using that sole source. You had pretty good wording on emergency. You had a provision that was very specific to this community on the Parks and Rec that was incorporated in the program. Cooperative purchasing was an area that we've kind of made a few minor modifications to. And we added the negotiated purchase process. And your departments really weren't aware of that process, but it's something that we've kind of introduced. It was we utilized it in South Portland on a frequent basis when you had no bids, or that the bids were such that they were all over, the prices were just not reasonable within the budget parameters that you had approved at the council level or within the department's budget parameters. So it allowed you to work with the better of the bidders, best of the bidders, to negotiate a price that was within the parameters that you could afford. Not something that is always in the policies, but I think it was very effective and allowed. So we've put it in the policy, and it's gotten good, favorable from administration and the department heads. So. The sole source, I also wanted to point out that we've added within the form, there'll be a requirement that the departments sign off and certify that they have no conflicts of interest. And it's an area that public oftentimes will have some concern that, you're always awarding a contract to X or Y. And, so in that respect, there needs to be a department certification that they have no conflicts of interest as to why it's being awarded to a sole source. So I think it's just a public trust element that we're adding here. On the sole source, we've also added some language in regards to fleet vehicles to allow for uniformity or continuity within the Department of Equipment. And we're also working on the final, met with Water Resource Recovery staff last week, and where their equipment is very, what's the word I'm looking for, specific, and you can't just use a control panel that you might be able to buy from Radio Shack. Bad example, probably. So it's very sophisticated. The control systems all are integrated within the pump stations. So we're putting some wording there to allow, essentially, I'll call it a blanket sole source language. But one of the things that I'm going to basically assure that's within that statement is that it doesn't give a blanket that they, for items that do not require specific sole source nature, that aren't really true, doesn't give Water Resources a blanket waiver of that requirement. So if they're buying a photocopier, they still have to go through the normal purchasing requirements. So it's just specific to the equipment within the facility that requires it. We've also added a section on special requirements, and that's just to recognize within the purchasing policy that if you are dealing with federal grants, that there's an additional level of oversight that is there, and there's specific regulations that you need to follow and adhere to that, that are part of the uniform guidance that's within the federal compliance nature. So with that, there's a cost standard, allowable cost standards that's added to the policy as a whole. One of the things that we didn't talk about, I wanted to talk about, is the whole nature of a purchasing agent. And the policy is very broad in this definition of purchasing agent. And in that regards, each individual is considered a purchasing agent. And it adheres to the policy's requirements. Many communities, maybe a little larger than you, have a formal purchasing agent. It's a budgetary constraint, and you are really at that threshold where you might consider it in future budget considerations, or administration might want to consider it. You're probably slightly less than many of the other main communities that in size it is, but it's something that you might want to consider in future budget deliberations as to whether or not it's a necessity to add that. It essentially can take some of the workload off of your department heads because, you get 15 department heads that need to be working on bids when they might otherwise be doing other functions and it provides a standardization, a better standardization, and it may be something that you consider in the future. So with that, I'm going to open the floor to any council questions. We've been working on this for a number of months. We've had a number of meetings with staff, with delegation from the council, actually. So any feedback I'm happy to take that we could still incorporate. The actual red line version is quite, it was pretty significant, and didn't feel that was appropriate to it isn't quite ready yet for public distribution, so.
Thank you very much. And on that note, that is why we were bringing this under as a quick little preliminary view of what will be coming in hopefully a few weeks, a month or so. Ms. LaRue has been working very closely with our department staff, department heads, administration. And so again, this was brought forth, recommendation for review by the ad hoc grievance committee. And once the red line is presented, it will be brought to you. Any quick thoughts or questions? Councilor Gale.
Just a quick, big thought on it, and I'd be curious to hear maybe when it comes back from staff and from Mr. LaRue. So we talked about the awarding bids to the lowest cost for each responsible and responsive bidder. I'm just curious, from my experience, sometimes that actually has the opposite effect depending on what it is that you're procuring, so that somebody can put in a low bid, but then over the course of the contract, that actually the cost increases quite a bit. So I'm curious maybe to hear from staff if something like a best value can be incorporated into it, so it's not necessarily lowest cost, but if staff and department heads view that as a potential benefit, or if it's not, then obviously let's not do it. But just I see that a lot.
Yeah, I think that's incorporated, and it should be part of the evaluative process. And the bids themselves, the RFPs, should outline the criteria for which bids are evaluated. And so cost isn't always the primary decision-making process. All things equal, yeah, cost is the deciding factor. But experience, quality of the product, all those things should be taken into consideration when you're buying something. Probably another bad example, a piece of equipment that's going to break down, if your experience with certain type of equipment is poor, that should have an underlying decision. Part of the decision should be taken into consideration.
Okay, great. Thank you. Anyone else? And Emily, is this going to come back as a red line, or is it going to be kind of a reviewed, finished, where there's so many changes to it?
So we will work on that. It will either be a red line version, or you'll get a clean version with like a crosswalk that tells you where everything went and how it was changed.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, because there was a lot of good information that will point us to what was specifically changed or backup reasoning with it. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. All right, thank you very much. We look forward to getting the final copy.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 5, that is committee correspondence to council. Any councilors wishing to speak? Councilor Edwards.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, it's February. We're feeling like there's love in the air, and so you have an opportunity to meet someone at the February Community Luncheon sponsored by Age Friendly Saco. It is on the 12th of, which is a Thursday of February. Let's see, registration is required, and you can call 207-710-5029. There will be a suggested donation of $8 collected at the door. The doors will open at 11:30, with the meal being served at about 12 noon at the Saco Elks Club. And of course, as always, they ask if you are ill, please stay home for the protection of all attending. So if your plans change after you sign up, please call Age Friendly Saco at that same number. Just to let you know what will be served this time, it will be cracker chicken casserole, vegetables, bread, and a dessert. Sounds yummy? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, just 3 real quick updates, seeing as we're on the conversation of food, not necessarily committee signed, but for the city, this coming Saturday morning, we have 3 opportunities for some delicious benefit fundraising breakfast. First off, Thornton Academy is doing a all-you-can-eat pancake buffet to raise money for their student programs. The Saco Scoop is doing National Ice Cream for Breakfast Day. You can stop by and get that, and she is donating 20% of her proceeds to the ASK program, which is Aid Saco Kids, the Saco students program with the superintendent. And then Saco Main Street is doing their cookie walk down Main Street. All events, I believe, are from 9, Thornton is from 9 to 11 on Saturday morning. The Scoop is 9 to 12, and the cookie walk, do you know what time that starts?
I believe it starts at 12 and it is sold out.
It is, okay. So, yep. All right, so great. Again, 3 great food opportunities in downtown this weekend. All right, moving on to item number 6, that is public comment. So I do have a small list here first. I will start with the members who have signed up on the sheet, and then I will go to the residents in the audience. If you have 3 minutes to address council, when you step forward, please state your name and address for the record. And first on the list, we do have Richard Bryant.
Good evening. My name is Richard Bryant. I'm from Jensen Baird in Portland, and I live in Cape Elizabeth, not in Saco. I'm here because I'm the attorney for Blue Haven MHP LLC, which owns the Blue Haven Mobile Home Park, and I wanted to update the council on the progress of the mediation that was held between the owners and the residents on January 26th. We had a lengthy mediation all day into the evening, but it was successful. So at this point, there is a mediation memorandum between the owners and the 5-member committee of residents to recommend a proposal to the residents as a whole. We need to collect 51% of the households to sign off on that agreement. Right now, the counsel for the committee, who's been working with me closely, and I are finalizing that agreement to present to the residents. The bottom line is that effectively, this agreement would implement the December 1st rent increase that was noticed back in August, and that's important because there's a 90-day requirement under state law to change rents in mobile home parks. So we've offset that by a series of monthly credits against that increase, extending over a long period of time. It's important that that be implemented from our perspective by the 1st of March. And there are a couple other conditions which have to be met. First, as I noticed, we have to have 51% of the resident households approve it. Second, the existing moratorium, to the extent it might be extended, has to be rescinded by the city council, assuming that we will present to you a 51% vote of the residents before that. That has to occur by the 23rd, which is your last meeting in February, in order to implement the agreement starting March 1st. And then the last condition, which I don't think will be a hurdle at all, is that there can't be any other municipal ordinance or state law that comes into effect that prevents the initial implementation as of March 1st. I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody in the council has. I do think that both parties are strongly committed, that is the committee of the residents and the owner, to making this work. So we're going to be cooperating together to present materials for the committee to get to the residents to obtain signatures as quickly as possible.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Bryant. Because it is public comment, we don't allow question and answer.
And I'd be happy to show up again next week to
yep.
further update you, I hope with even better news.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next on the list, we have Bud Hurst.
Hi, I'm well, Wesley Hurst, but Bud's my nickname. I'm the owner-operator of Aquabarn Water Park, and we're here tonight to discuss this proposed change of Route 1 from 2 lanes each way to 1 lane each way, and the implications of not only the construction during the summer and the problem that we will have. We have a lot of our customers and a lot of our employees come from south on Route 1 and also off the Turnpike Spur, and then travel that section of Route 1. And this is definitely going to be a problem as far as traffic, especially in the summer. But I think that in the future, it's going to be a problem because whenever you're traveling a lane right now, like today I was coming up Route 1 from Hannaford, I had to turn into Napa, and I had to wait a long time. The traffic wasn't that busy, but it was just space, so you couldn't make those turns. And I could see the traffic behind me, of course, is go around. In the future, they're going to have to wait, and that's going to make it even worse for people headed south, make a left turn on Route 1. And the proposed bicycle lane's a good idea in a way, but I travel that route a lot, and I seldom ever see a bicycle. I mean, if they want to ride a bicycle, they've got a beautiful trail that starts down at Thornton and goes all the way, I guess all the way up to Falmouth, or in that area. And my feeling is that this is going to be a problem, not just this when it's being constructed, but it's going to be a problem for a long time, forever, basically, because it's hard to make a turn to the left to go to a business on the other side of the road when you're traveling in 1 lane and the people are waiting behind you. And as you know, what happens is they get impatient and they dodge out around. And so my feeling is it's not a good idea. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next on the list, we have Kevin Cormier.
Good evening. Kevin Cormier, one of the owners of Funtown in Saco. This is the second time I've had to come here on this issue. And I can tell you this, we've been on Route 1 with a business for nearly 70 years. And if anybody knows about the traffic on that road, it's my family. We're not really very pleased with what's being tossed around with these ideas of 1 lane each way and a bicycle pedestrian way through. Frankly, it doesn't make any sense. This is a state freeway. This is the second most heaviest traveled artery in southern Maine, other than I-95. And the numbers that the study, which I was just given to 2 days ago, the numbers are way off on vehicular traffic. So I can tell you this, in the last couple of years, the average of traveling tourist is way down, and we're in much higher numbers than what's being presented. There's really only one solution here, and my family is going to push for it. If you want to change Route 1, add the 5th lane. Do what Scarborough's done. It's smart. It moves people. I don't have to tell you, I told this group before, when there's an accident on I-95, and it happens all the time, and it's usually by the Saco exit, they're dumping the traffic onto Route 1, and you're talking about hours of problems. My business depends on X amount of vehicular traffic as a daily average every day in its parking lot. When we look at our parking lot and we look at the vehicles out there, we assess the day and the numbers and what that's going to outcome.
Having one lane is going to incur congestion, problems, and the ability to move these vehicles properly. Now, I don't have to tell you, I told you this before, and here I am 5 years later, and I'm back up here telling you again that you're better to plan for the future, like Scarborough did. Add the 5th lane as a turning lane, and keep those 2 lanes, north, south, east, west, moving properly. If you really want bicycle and pedestrian walkway, then get the additional room and do it. It's better to bite the bullet and spend money now, just like they did years ago when they brought the sewer down to Route 1, all the way down to Galos and Chevrolet and then further.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Cormier, but you are 20 seconds over.
Well, I'm going to finish with this.
Thank you.
I don't want Saco to forget what Funtown did for Saco when you built your new public works building. You had a problem and you couldn't get to that building. It was going to cost you millions and millions of dollars more. And you approached us and we said, let's take a look. And we had a curb cut off the Industrial Park Road. And we said, listen, let's just do a land swap and you can get to your building much closer with actually several $1 million of savings
Again,
to get
I'm
to
sorry
that
to cut you
building.
off, but we are a minute over now.
Well, I don't care.
No,
I'm
we
going to
do.
wrap with this,
That's-
ma'am. I'm going to wrap with this. Don't forget what we've done. We're a taxpayer, and we're the top 10 paying taxpayer in this town. We don't ask for much, but we got 10 weeks to make a living. And we need vehicular traffic to move properly. If you want to add the 5th lane, we're all in with you. But this 1 lane stuff is not going to work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, I'm going to ask for the other residents first, yeah. So that completes the list, and I do have Mr. Perlman, but we are going to go for the audience first. If there are any members of the audience who are not signed up and wish to speak, please step forward, state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Hope Lambert, 14 Pheasant Road, Saco. I work in the world of lending. I've worked in several different kind of lending industries. When we do a loan, we ID people before we require certain things to verify who that person is or who that business is in order before we enter into a contract with that business. We had 2 people at our town hall meeting for the Blue Haven Mobile Home Park stand up and claim they were combined 50 or more than 50% ownership of the park. We have nothing to prove that. We have a resident who is a volunteer with the Blue Haven Committee who was talking with someone, a completely different person, who told her he had 30% ownership of the park. We have nothing to prove this. This person, from what I understand, has not been involved in any of these negotiations with the park. So we're having difficulty, from what the committee is having difficulty with getting this information. It's been asked, from what the committee members have told me. I am a volunteer with the committee. I'm not on the committee, but I am a volunteer with them. So from what I understand, this has been asked, but has not been provided. We are going to be entering into a contract, an agreement with people, and we don't even know if they even actually own the park, or are the ones who have at least 20% in a vested interest, 20% or more interest in this park. I could stand up here and I could say, I have an interest in the park, a percentage interest in the park. I can say whatever I want, but it's not proven until it's proven. So that would be something that we need, and we need some additional time on our rent freeze moratorium so that we can get this information. If it's owned by another business, we need that information of that other business as well. One of the gentlemen at the town hall meeting, on the main annual report, the businesses are required to file an annual report with the state of Maine. They're only required to list at least one person who is either a member, manager, or authorized person. And for 2025, I actually have them all through from since the ownership changed in 2020. But 2025, one of the gentlemen at that park that was on the town hall meeting saying that he has ownership interest in the park, he was listed as authorized person, not member, not manager, but authorized person. So at this point, and at that point, as far as authorized person, that means he's authorized to file the annual report. We don't know what else he's authorized to do, or who else is authorized to do anything on behalf of the park, and we need that information. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to speak?
Hi, my name is Deb Lombard, and I'm a resident of Portland Road. And a little backstory about my family. My great-great-great uncle came to town in 1746 and established our family here. The family lived on Ferry Road. My great-grandparents raised dahlias. They had dahlia gardens down there. And one day somebody said to them, "You need to move to Route 1 because you'll be more visible." So in 1924, my great-grandparents came to Route 1, built their home, and I'm happy to say that we have lived in the house for 102 years, and my grandchildren are sixth generation to live on that property. So when you talk about roots in the community, I don't think you get deeper than this, even with Kevin in 70 years. But so my family, through all these years, have seen what has happened to Route 1 then. It was a dirt road, and then it went to paved road. In the 60s, I think it went to the 4-lane, I'm not sure. My dad was the superintendent of the water company for 45 years. He ran all the crews. He was also the draftsman. So I have all his old maps showing, you know, how the roads were constructed and all. So we're very deep into Route 1, and I'm very protective over where we live. To have something like this go on, without notification, even though I see that you say you did this and you did this and you did this. I have 2 homes there. According to what I heard from information, there was at least 4 letters that went out telling us that this was all taking place. That would mean that I should have gotten 8 pieces of mail on this notification, not 1. I just found out about it 4 days ago, maybe? 4 days? I mean, this is ridiculous. I live and breathe Route 1. I'm the one who knows how to get in and out of traffic. I'm the one that knows what it's like when there's an accident on the turnpike and we're backed up for hours. And that's not 2 lanes, that's 4 lanes. I know what it's like for the ambulances to try to get through, the fire trucks, the police cars, the police who sit in my yard and you know, take care of, they got their radar out. I welcome them in my yard to slow the traffic down. But going 1 lane north, 1 lane south, even with a turning lane, I just can't begin to tell you what it's like. If you don't live there and you just happen to drive through, you really, really don't know. And I find it very disrespectful that this is happening and not...
Ms. Lombard, just to let you know, you're 15 seconds over.
Okay. To not let one person on the road be part of a committee or be part of this information to give you what it's like to live there, I don't know. And I just feel as though you shouldn't be going backwards. State road, 50 miles an hour. When I grew up on that road, 50 miles an hour. To go backwards in time and think that we're going to have bicycles driving down when they've got the Eastern Trail right on the
I do hate to interrupt.
backside.
Yep, you're coming up on a minute over.
Right on the backside of me. It's just absurd. And if you think kids are going to be walking to that new school down the road, they're K through 5. There's no parent in their right mind. that's
Okay,
gonna
we are
let
1
it-
minute over. I'm going to ask that you finish it up, please.
No, there's no parent that is going to let their K through 5 use that. So, anyway, I could
Thank
go
you.
on. Thank you.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak?
I have a handout for the council. May I approach and hand that out?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Inga Brown. I live at 161 Simpson Road. My comments this evening pertain to the Ecology School. They are currently presenting before the Planning Board for a deferment on a condition of approval. Council, I know I have 3 minutes. I know that you can read the packet that you have. I would like to urge you to take a look at it when you have more time. But for the record, I'd like to just share with you what I'm sharing with you this evening. The first item that you have in your packet is a copy of the construction loan agreement between the city and the Ecology School signed on May 14th, 2024. On page 2, the deadline says, all project work shall be completed by October 2025. That contract is in breach, and that requires the council's review. The second item I'm submitting to you is a copy of the signed business partnership initiative. That contract, you can read as well, says the city shall ensure that construction shall commence within 18 months and shall be certified complete within 36 months of execution. Council, this is an item that the council approved in 2024 of May. This contract is in breach. Its validity is in question, and it requires your review. The third item I have enclosed for you is a copy of the prologue of the 2018 contract zone agreement between the city and the Ecology School, and that contract zone had a sunset clause. I would draw your attention to the sunset clause that I've enclosed for you. Lastly, I thought it was very important that the council take a look at a letter from attorney Peter Van Hemel, that is the Ecology School's attorney, and I've enclosed the letter that he has submitted to the planning board. It is important for you to understand that this applicant is pointing its fingers at you, the council, and the planning board for the delay of this project. This is a gross mischaracterization of the factual record. The construction loan agreement was signed in May of 2024. 17 months later, this council had to vote to pay delinquent bills for the Ecology School. The school has been responsible for the delay of this project, and I would like the public record to reflect, with your knowledge of these materials and these contracts, that the applicant is not operating in good faith. They are not a partner, and I urge you to review the record. These contracts are under your purview, the CLA and the BPI. Thank you very much, and I hope you have time to review this more closely. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have packets as well. Can I hand those out?
Hi, my name is Deb Hilton.
I live at 143 Simpson Road. For the record, I'm a CPA with over 35 years of experience. Tonight I want to share with you concerns regarding the financial condition of the ecology school and how it's deteriorated to the point where it poses a significant risk to the city of Saco. The school's audited financial statements from 2020 to 2024 show a consistent troubling patterns. TESS has incurred operating losses in 3 of the last 5 years and negative cash flow from operations in 4 of the last 5 years. These are not temporary setbacks. They are long-term structural weaknesses. In 2024 alone, the school recorded a $1.1 million operating loss. Revenues have fallen by more than $600,000 since 2020, while expenses have increased over $2.1 million. The school had negative cash flows from operations in 2024 of $1.2 million. A nonprofit cannot survive when its core activities continue to consume cash at this scale. The school's debt load is overwhelming. TESS carries $12.3 million in debt. $8.4 million of that is USDA loans that are in default, and they have been in default since 2023 and can be called at any time. They also have over $900,000 of notes that are due between April and June of this year. At the end of 2024, they only had $70,000 in operating cash. With another year of expected losses, they're on track to enter balance sheet insolvency where liabilities are higher than assets. That's not speculation. That is the mathematical outcome of their current trajectory. These are not financials of a stable institution. The independent auditors, Baker Newman Noyes, issued a going concern opinion stating a substantial doubt about the entity's ability to continue to operate. These financial weaknesses have already harmed the city directly. TESS failed to pay for its engineering invoices, causing engineering delays back in early 2025. As a result, construction could not begin. The construction loan agreement has been breached. It was supposed to be complete as of October 2025. That means the construction complete as of 2025. The BPI has also been breached, as Inga had mentioned. It's been over 7 years since the turn lane was required and has not even started construction. And the school is at their weakest financially. The city is risking taxpayer funds by continuing to partner with TESS on this turn lane, given all of the items that I just mentioned. This includes funding the construction overruns and also collecting on the construction loan in the end. The city also risks the taking of property from 9 citizens of Saco along Route 112 for an entity that has a substantial doubt about their ability to continue to operate from an independent public accounting firm. Given I only had 3 minutes tonight, you have a handout of the presentation I gave to the planning board on December 16th. I gave a 14-minute testimony. I really encourage you to go out to the planning board agenda, click on the link and watch that video. We'll try to send you a link to the actual timestamp so you can watch it, but I really encourage you to review that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any members of the, okay.
Pardon me, I don't have my computer, so it's hard to read off my phone. I'll do my best for the 3 minutes. I'm Kelly Archer, 185 Bradley Street, and I want to thank the council for having the purchasing policy, the grievance, brought to the floor. I definitely appreciate that being addressed. I do agree with everything that Inga and the CPA just said. I definitely hope that you tonight, 4/7 of you, stay tomorrow night's planning board test meeting. There's a lot of information that is going to be forthcoming, and I do believe that you want a risk, minimize your risk liabilities if that goes forward. in reference to the executive session regarding Deering Trust, the public's business. For those who don't know, in May 2021, upon Flatley's withdrawing from the 321 Lincoln Street appeal and purchase and sale agreement, many citizens advocated for the city to land bank this 57-acre in-town parcel due to many issues that arose during the master plan development application process to no avail, whereby a new buyer bought it 8 months later without due process, had illegal bypass of council approval, the legal and financial oversight, no accountability, and no standing. 5 years later, after many FOIAs, letters, 990s, investigation, grievance petitions, call to actions, and ad hoc committee investigation, and reports later, citizens are still waiting for transparent public disclosures, discussion, deliberations, and actions by council per charter. Attorney Cole's opinion stands. Our questions remain unanswered. It's been 2.5 years since Ms. Brown and I co-filed the grievance petition. When will the city come out of executive session? Taxpayers are footing the bills for so many documented egregious errors. How much in all attorney fees, the city, the trust, the developers, and staff time has been spent? Trustees repeatedly failed to meet their responsibilities under City Code Chapter 15. If the argument is that the trust and the hospital fund are the same entity, then why do these proceeds not appear on the Kimball Health 990 filings, a massive financial red flag? The absence of these funds in public financial filings requires explanation. Where is the forensic audit of the $1.499999 million land proceeds? Have you seen the trust treasurer's bond per 1514? Did the former city administrator ever receive the historical, legal, and financial records of the trust as requested? Where is the true and perfect record? Years ago, former ward councilor Archer brought the deed and will into question. There is no formal trust, no public due process. Why did city visit the vacant land per GIS record on 6/24/2025 prior to council ad hoc new business in July? Land assessed at $300K for a $1.5 million sale, a 500% discrepancy. The questions are endless. It's time to come out of executive session, relieve the trustees for failure of duty, create a more definitive legal and tight current structure with transfer all accounts to city treasurer and separate from Kimball Health Center. As noted 5+ years ago and repeated now, why is this entity and city continuing
Kelly, you're at 30 seconds over.
to violate local laws? And I thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Okay, great. So the last person that we actually had signed up, because we have members, business owners on Route 1 who are not able to attend, we do have written statements. With us tonight, we have Gary Perlman. He will be speaking for himself. Each one will be separate. He is allowed 3 minutes. That is the packet that you have received with the written correspondence from each business owner. And Mr. Perlman has been given authorization to read those on record to council. But again, they will each be individual with a 3-minute timeline for each one. Good evening, and thank you.
Good evening. My name is Gary Perlman. I live at 743 Portland Road. I'll try to talk fast and get to my point so I don't run out of my 3 minutes here. I've been a taxpaying citizen of Saco since 2012, approximately 14 years now, and love the city, and that's why I'm here. I left Portland after 20 years up there because they've ruined that city with ideas like the one that is being proposed down here in Saco. That was proposed at another time in 2019 and was roundly rejected back then. And there were notice problems back then also, and they were brought to the attention. And this one, there was severe notice problems to all of the businesses and my abutters. No one got notice. About road diets. Road diets have killed businesses in Portland. Approximately 70 restaurants have left in the past year up there for road diets. I've read the road diet feasibility study, which has countless flaws, but it's never given but no one was ever given an opportunity to be heard on this, nor point out all of these flaws. Why are we considering a road diet when the density ordinance has just been modified so that up around Route 1 where we are, there's going to be more population, there's going to be school up there, there's going to be all kinds of business opportunities up there, and now we want to make it one lane going each way with a middle lane. Doesn't make any sense to me. As far as crashes, reading into the road study, as far as crashes on Route 1, Cascade Road to Ross Road, they did a 3-year study. There were 0 crashes involving pedestrians, 0 crashes involving bicyclists. And out of the 112 over that 3 years, most of them were fender benders. In fact, about 98% of them. There were only 2 with serious injuries. So I don't understand why we are creating a problem here when there is no problem. They also estimate that approximately 14,000 to 17,000 cars per day use this road. Back in 2019, when they tried to do the same thing to us, they had numbers of 6,000 at that point. But we knew better. We actually sat out with a clicker and counted cars just to show them that we weren't going to stand for this. And at that time, we had 20 to 25,000 cars going by. I can't even get to most of my points that are on this, but this committee that was put up there did not involve one of the businesses on Route 1, not one of the residents on Route 1 in the area that's going to be detrimentally affected. And for the life of me, I cannot understand why we're doing this just to put in 2 bike paths when we have the Eastern Trail that you can bike all the way up to Falmouth if you want to from Saco. And there's outlets on many roads to get off it when you want to. I know that I'm up to my 3 minutes here, and I'm just going to close. The speed reduction they talk about that this one lane going each way will do, it's 3 to 7%. That's 1 to 2 miles per hour that we're going to reduce by taking 2 lanes out. And in the meantime, we're going to create the most incredible traffic jams on Route 1. Barrel Souls Brewery, where I am, is going to be detrimentally affected. My law office is going to be detrimentally affected.
You are 30 seconds over.
And all of the businesses that I'm talking for tonight, we just got notice of this because of a letter that actually did come to my office. And we got notice of that, and I just, in the last few days, have been getting people together. And I provided you with letters that I will read as much as I can. But 3 minutes is not a lot of time to put in for input when you've put in hundreds of thousands of dollars into a business and your property.
Okay, you are 1 minute over now.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Okay, so again, please state your name and address for the record each time that you read one of these letters.
Okay,
and that will officially.
Can I start the 3 when I start talking?
Oh, yep. Did I not?
I don't want to lose any time,
Hit remit.
Mayor.
Yep.
I can't talk fast enough on this.
That's okay. And if you have to kind of condense them up a little bit.
I mean, some of them are going to be very short because,
Right.
And the reason why they're not here is because I just found out about this on Friday. People are in Florida, people on cruises.
But again, we do have the written documentation
You've
here,
got it.
so it doesn't have to be read word for word.
Okay. So, see, this is Seacoast RV on Route 1.
Okay, again, your name and address for the record and who you're speaking on behalf of.
My name is Attorney Gary Perlman. I am speaking on behalf of Seacoast RV and its owner, Kenny Blow, who is the owner and operator on Route 1 in Saco, where they're proposing the 4-lane traffic to 2 lanes, of which I am adamantly opposed. Just for background, I've served in various capacities in the municipality of Old Orchard Beach, including, not limited to, town council, planning board, etc., and know how difficult decisions can be on this. But I've always tried to base my decisions on facts, not conjecture, and also valuable public input from the taxpayers and businesses, as they are very the fabric and foundation of our community. They are the ones that will have to endure the ramifications of actions like this. First, I've never seen a project like this gain approval without public notice. These decisions should be extremely transparent and have healthy public input. I only found out about this yesterday by word of mouth from other people and businesses on Route 1 who will be detrimentally affected by this change. We have never received any notice of this proposal, nor have we ever had an opportunity to be heard, which is extremely troubling. The action was attempted a few years ago and roundly rejected by the public, and we were told it was dead in the water. Second, at Seacoast RV, we have 40-foot-long park models and RVs that we sell and service. To have them delivered, they need a 25-foot-long truck, making the load 65 feet long. These additionally are wide loads and need ample room to ingress and egress off of Route 1 and onto Route 1. This proposal will create extreme traffic hazards, not prevent them. This change to the flow of traffic will also make it nearly impossible for us to receive deliveries and or ship out to customers. Third, one lane each way will severely cripple the flow of potential and residual customers, not just to Seacoast RVs, but all other businesses located on Route 1 as well. The change to the flow of traffic will increase traffic jams, which in turn will cause people to seek an alternate route, causing a decrease in revenue for our business. Fourth, I'm deeply concerned and extremely skeptical that this will achieve any of your goals. If the desire to slow traffic and reduce speeds, then increased law enforcement with speed details and extra signage should help accomplish this. Again, if this goal is to truly slow down speeds, there are less intrusive means. Lastly, the proposal seems counterproductive since an ordinance we just passed to increase the population density so you can have more housing and businesses along Route 1 corridor. By doing so, you are now eliminating half of the ingress-egress through this lane proposal, just when the population on this road will be exponentially increasing. If we look back to the 60s and 70s when Route 1 was 2 lanes with limited businesses, the traffic flow was horrendous, and the thought of going back to 2 lanes since the major business expansion on Route 1 would only cause extreme congestion and a dire situation for all businesses. How about that?
Good job. Thank you.
Okay.
And again, name and address and who you are speaking or
a
reading
breath.
on behalf of.
Okay, so the next exhibit that you folks have, I didn't number these, they're indexed, but the next exhibit that you folks have is from Heather and Mike Doherty, who own Shed Happens, and my name is Attorney Gary M. Perlman. I am speaking with the authority and on behalf of Shed Happens, which is located at 730 Portland Road. Okay, so the Dohertys write this: unfortunately, I'm unable to attend this meeting in person, which is why Gary Perlman is presenting and reading this statement on my behalf. I appreciate the opportunity for my concerns to be heard despite my absence, as this issue directly impacts my family, our business, and our investment in the community. My name is Heather Doherty. My husband and I, along with our family, own and operate Shed Happens at 730 Portland Road in Saco. We also own the neighboring property at 736 Portland Road, both of which are directly on Route 1. I was stunned to learn the city's proposed plan to reduce Route 1 to a single lane each direction in order to add bike lanes, especially since no notice was ever sent to us or to other property owners and businesses along the stretch of road for input or comment. Of all the actions the city could take that negatively impact taxpayers, visitors, and business owners, this proposal ranks among the most damaging. Attempting to move forward without proper notice or public involvement feels deliberate and deeply disrespectful to the people who live, own businesses, and work here. The lack of transparency is unacceptable. Over the last few years, our property taxes have risen dramatically, yet it is difficult to see any meaningful benefit for longtime Saco residences and business owners. Now, on top of that, the city is proposing a construction project that will last through the peak tourist season, putting businesses at serious risk. We only need to look at Biddeford to see the consequences of similar road work, where prolonged construction drove many businesses to closure. Why couldn't this project have been scheduled during the spring or fall when the impact would be far less? Why are affected businesses not contacted directly? The approach shows a shocking disregard for those who fund the city. It also raises the question of whether anyone involved in this decision actually drives on Route 1 regularly. Removing one travel lane in each direction will create major congestion, especially during the tourist season. Traffic will back up, access to properties will be restricted, and customers will avoid the area altogether. For our business, this creates an even more serious problem. We regularly bring large trucks in and out of our driveway on Route 1 carrying sheds and other structures, and we also rely on tractor trailers to deliver building materials and supplies. Operating these oversized vehicles in and out of single-lane travel would be extremely difficult, unsafe, and disruptive to traffic. Sacrificing critical vehicle lanes for bike paths on both sides of the road defies common sense and will cause real economic and logistical harm to business like ours. It is even more troubling to me that the Traffic Safety Committee's January 15th meeting excluded the public from this discussion entirely. It appears this was done intentionally, likely because city officials anticipated strong opposition. A similar proposal from the firm, I won't go back into that because she says it was brought in 2019. She says the traffic volume numbers cited for this area are widely inaccurate, particularly during peak seasons. The figures cited may reflect off-season travel, but they do not represent spring or summer traffic in any way. I would also like to express concern over recent placement of unnecessary and excessive signage throughout the city of Portland. These signs are costly,
Mr. Pullman,
visual
yep,
clutter.
30 seconds over. Council has the full
She's got those.
commentary.
Okay, you've got those in your letter. I think I'm gonna be able to, if you chalk me back up to 3 minutes, I think this one is gonna do it. I think I'm gonna be under here. My name is Gary Perlman, and I represent Attorney Gary Perlman. I represent David Rosenberg, President of Jack Chevrolet, Jack Chrysler, Jack Dodge, Jack Jeep, Ram, and Volkswagen. And this is a letter that David Rosenberg wanted the board to see. Ready? Okay. My name is David Rosenberg, and together with my father, Ira, we have been business owners and supporters of Saco and many local charitable organizations for over 20 years. I just learned that the city is planning to reduce Route 1 to 2 lanes from 4 to accommodate bike lanes and a middle turning lane. This is exactly where my businesses are located. While I'm sure you have all sorts of paid consultants telling you how this will increase the safety of the road and reduce foot traffic and increase bicycle usage, it is obvious to me that no one has researched the devastating impact on other municipalities have gone in this direction. As 2 examples, I offer up the cities of Boston, Mass. And Lynn, Mass. I have businesses in both these communities and have personally observed the following. As automotive traffic builds up, retail traffic decreases significantly. Consumers' most valuable commodity is their time. What sane person wants to spend extra time in traffic to purchase goods or services? 2, bike lanes create safety issues. Electric scooters and similar means of travel are all the rage. These machines can attain speeds of up to 30 miles an hour. I have personally witnessed 3 accidents over the past year involving speeding scooters, swerving around slower moving bikes, or moving into a driving lane to advance. 3, when traffic builds up tremendously, and it will with a 50% reduction in lanes, how are fire trucks and police cars supposed to get to locations in time? Look at Boylston and Boston next time you're in the city and watch what happens when a service vehicle tries to maneuver. 4, bike lanes in both cities see extraordinarily little actual bike traffic. I believe that the successful passage of the proposal will harm all the businesses on Route 1 and make us less competitive. I also believe it will lower property values. Why, when cities are suffering cost overruns and raising property taxes, the leadership of Saco would propose to spend money on this project is astounding. As an aside, I recently met with Superintendent of Schools in Saco, who's asking us to give up some of the land from Jack Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram to create a turning lane for the new school. My 2 freestanding signs will need to be relocated, and I will lose parking spaces. Naturally, as a loyal business community member, I agreed to give up whatever land that they had required. Not once at that meeting or any meeting did any person tell me of this other roadway change. I am vehemently opposed to this project and I am upset that I was not made aware of it. I do not think it is good for Saco, and I know it's horrible for every landowner on that stretch of Route 1. I will do everything in my power to oppose it.
Thank you.
All right. I'll take a breath and...
Last two short ones.
Okay, this is from, my name is Gary Perlman, and I represent Kevin and Cindy Morse, owners of Wagon Wheel Motel on Portland Road. Okay? Kevin and Cynthia Morse, formerly owners of Wagon Wheel, One Motel and Cottages, present owner of Wagon Wheel 2. Unbeknownst to us, the city has gone ahead with another traffic study, which I thought was defeated the last time it was proposed. I have read the entire study to the best of my ability and can assure you that it's 2 hours of my life. That is 2 hours of my life I will never get back. Has anybody taken into consideration that Saco may be adopting higher density zoning in the Route 1 corridor area? If you were to propose higher density zoning for a certain area in that town that will promote more construction and more traffic, how does reducing the traffic lanes fit into the possible future project? The study, in their words, MDOT, no bicyclists or pedestrians were affected in a 3-year period. None. It seems to me that this is more about bike lanes and not really traffic safety. We have sidewalks almost the entire length of the stretch of the road that is in question. Also, we have a beautiful pedestrian and bike path called the Eastern Trail, which bypasses the entire Route 1 corridor, which is also much prettier ride. Why would the city of Saco, looking into a traffic study on supposedly the most dangerous road in Saco, and putting pedestrians and bicycles in the roadway with cars and trucks, why don't we make the entire stretch 25 or 35 miles an hour? Enforcement seems more logical. The study says from an operation design standpoint is expected to perform similar to existing conditions, no better or no worse. Maine Department of Transportation, quote, most results are marginal at best. All levels of service still meet MDOT standards. My favorite paragraph is these traffic calming effects, while difficult to quantify precisely, would be expected to create a more favorable environment for all transportation modes. You're kidding me, right? The city of Saco conveniently took 4 feet by 750 feet of my road frontage to install sidewalks. Just did it, no questions asked, not even a thank you. I can only hope that 33% of my tax increase for my property this year did not go towards this useless study. I would like to know who proposes these studies, who pays for them, how much this firm gets for drawing these ridiculous plans up. My wife and I are 100% against this ridiculous traffic study again, and I would like to be informed of future meetings. Thank you, Kevin and Cynthia Morse, Route 1 business owners, Wagon Wheel. 11 seconds.
Thank you.
As you can see, notice is a big deal. My name is Gary Perlman. I represent Maury Heiberger, Sea Salt Restaurant, Portland Road. To whom it may concern, it has come to our attention there is a project to remove a travel lane from both north and southbound traffic on Route 1. We are told that this section of road is directly in front of our business located at 660 Main Street in Saco. If such a project is scheduled, we have not been notified, nor do we want this project to be completed, as it will be a major loss of business to us. Furthermore, we believe it will be a huge safety issue, as a number of people and large trucks that enter and exit our facility will not be able to safely do so with only one lane. A lane removal will give a limited turning radius for the tractor trailers, causing a disruption to the traffic in both directions. We believe that a more congested Route 1 will cause major traffic backups and less desire for our customers to deal with traffic congestion. From our understanding, the Route 1 section is busier now than when the road was widened to add lanes. Why now would we have, when we have more traffic, would it be shrunk to only 2 lanes? We are asking if this project is scheduled, that it be paused so that local businesses are allowed to speak on behalf of our concerns. We should have the opportunity as taxpayers and contributors in making Saco such a great city to understand why this project is necessary prior to work being started on the lane removal.
Great, thank you very much. We appreciate you being able to voice their concerns for us.
I still had a minute and a half. I was going to add to Maury.
Okay.
And I want to say that the overriding concerns to all of the business owners is that we didn't have any notice. We have sunk hundreds of thousands, some millions, into our buildings and our properties in Funtown and Aquabog. Look at all the years that Bud's been here. And it's about to get decimated with a 1-lane travel. Anyone who travels on Route 1 in the summertime knows what 1 lane would do. And in the future, if we could all get notice and get on the same page, I'm going to work with Emily, I'm going to work with the mayor, I'm going to try to get everybody, proper notices for everybody. But we did get the notice on the paving. So if someone has our addresses. Thank you.
Okay, any other members of the public wishing to speak?
Hi, Kevin Roach, 18 Vines Road. Did not come to speak for this, and I don't speak for the entire school board. But when schools were brought up, we had only talked about looking for a 1-lane close to Millbrook. So before coming from the south and then right after Millbrook, and not where these major businesses are. I agree with a lot of speakers. I can't imagine that whole stretch of Route 1 being 1 lane each. But in terms of the relation to the schools, that was, again, I'm not speaking for the whole board, but that certainly was my belief, and I believe that others are we're just hoping that the Maine DOT will consider a 1 lane right in that small stretch, right? Possibly from Ira Toyota to Ira Ford. It's like that stretch. That's what I think the schools are hoping for. But again, we wait for all that deliberation. And then as a supporter of the Eastern Trail, I think one idea when we talk about bike lanes is the Eastern Trail, of course, goes parallel to Route 1. How about some more access points off the Eastern Trail to get through some, it's private property and stuff, but have some trails be able to get to businesses like Funtown or whatnot, regardless of 1 or 2 lanes or whatever. That's what I'd like. I'd like to see that option as well. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Inga Brown, 161 Simpson Road. I don't have public comment, just a gentle point of order. I am wondering if the packet of letters that you've received through Mr. Perlman, would those be available at any time through a link for general correspondence? Mr. Perlman had to condense many of those letters, and I know that many members of the public would like to review those. So I do think you do need a general correspondence link to some of these public comments or a way to make the packet available because I think they are of high interest, and because they were condensed, I do believe the public should have access to those letters. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Okay, not seeing anyone seeking recognition. Moving on to item 7 is the approval of the minutes. We do have 3 sets of minutes for December 15th, 2026. December 15th, 2025, January 5th, 2026, and January 12th, 2026. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilor Edwards. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Parks. Any discussion on the minutes? Okay, not seeing any. Roll call vote. Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Counselor Parks?
Yes.
Counselor Onen?
Yes.
Counselor Gale?
Yes.
Counselor Hewitt?
Yes.
Counselor Johnston?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Okay, moving on to item 8, that is consent items. And we have 7 items tonight. Item A is the certification of election results for the special general election, January 13th, 2026. B, confirm the mayor's appointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals of Michael J. Skolnick. C, confirm the mayor's appointment to the Arts Commission of Amy Adams, Ann Tracy, and Jordan Green. Item D is to confirm the mayor's appointment to the Shoreline Commission of Joseph DeSato and Michael Thorne. Item E is to confirm the mayor's appointment to the Planning Board of Christopher Gagnon. Item F is the council schedule for April, May, and June of 2026, meeting dates, and the additional meeting for March 30th, 2026. And item G is the combined massage therapist and establishment license of Stephanie Murray. Is there a motion or any items you wish to remove?
So moved.
Motion made by Counselor Edwards. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Parks. Roll call vote. Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Counselor Parks?
Yes.
Counselor Onen?
Yes.
Counselor Gale?
Yes.
Counselor Hewitt?
Yes.
Counselor Johnston?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Okay, moving on to item 9 this evening. That is action items. And our first item tonight is the swearing in of our new Ward 3 council, and that is William P. Doyle. And I would like to invite Bill and Michelle up for the swearing in.
Raise your right hand. Do you, William Doyle, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution and will obey the laws of the United States and the state of Maine, and that you'll in all respects observe the provisions of the Charter and the ordinances of the City of Saco, and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Ward 3 City Councilor? Okay, congratulations.
Congratulations, Counselor Doyle. Step up and please take your seat. And with that, we are back to a full council. Congratulations, Bill. Give you a second to get scheduled. Okay, moving on to item B this evening is a public hearing, and that is to the amendment to Chapter 169 of Recreational Vehicle Ordinance, and that is Counselor Edwards.
Thank you, Mayor. On July 14th, 2025, City Council was requested to review the Chapter 169 Recreational Vehicles Ordinance provisions to allow for the opportunity of temporary limited RV use in residential areas. Staff has drafted the attached red lines for City Council's consideration, which have been updated throughout this review process. I move to open the public hearing on Chapter 169 Recreational Vehicles Ordinance Amendments.
Thank you. Motion has been made by Counselor Edwards. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Johnston. Roll call vote. Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Counselor Parks?
Yes.
Counselor Doyle?
Yes.
Counselor Onen?
Yes.
Counselor Gale?
Yes.
Counselor Hewitt?
Yes.
Counselor Johnston?
Yes.
Motion to open the public hearing passes at 8:09 p.m. If there are any members of the public wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to address council. Okay, not seeing any members of the public being recognized. Councilor Edwards?
I move to close the public hearing on Chapter 169 Recreational Vehicles Ordinance Amendments, and further to schedule the second final reading for February 9th, 2026. I move to approve the order.
Thank you. Motion has been made by Councilor Edwards. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Hewitt. Any discussion or comment on the item? Okay, not seeing any. Roll call vote. Councilor Edwards?
Yes.
Councilor Parks?
Yes.
Councilor Doyle?
Yes.
Councilor Onen?
Yes.
Councilor Gale?
Yes.
Councilor Hewitt?
Yes.
Councilor Johnston?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0 to close the public hearing and schedule the final reading for February 9th at 8:10. Okay, moving on to item number C, that is the public hearing for the renewal application for a special entertainment permit for the Fraternal Order of Eagles, DBA Saco Eagles, number 3792, and that is Councilor Johnston.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Fraternal Order of Eagles doing business as Saco Eagles, ARI number 3792, has applied for renewal of their special entertainment permit. The permit will be concurrent with the establishment's liquor license. The applicant has paid all applicable permit fees, and the clerk has properly advertised the public hearing in accordance with Saco City Code, Chapter 93, Entertainment, Section 93-2. The clerk has also checked with Code Enforcement, Finance, Fire, Police Departments, and there were no concerns. Move to open the public hearing.
Thank you. Motion has been made by Councilor Johnston. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Doyle. I need to get used to the voice. I should know it by now, though. All right. Public hearing is now open. I'm sorry, roll call vote. Councilor Edwards?
Yes.
Councilor Parks?
Yes.
Councilor Doyle?
Yes.
Councilor Onen?
Yes.
Councilor Gale?
Yes.
Councilor Hewitt?
Yes.
Councilor Johnston?
Yes.
Motion to open the public hearing passes 7-0 at 8:12. Any members of the public wishing to speak, please step forward, state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to address the council. Not seeing anyone seeking recognition. Councilor Johnston?
I move to close the public hearing. Be it ordered that the City Council grant the renewal application submitted by the Fraternal Order of Eagles doing business as Saco Eagles, ARI number 3792, for a special entertainment permit to be concurrent with the establishment's liquor license. I move to approve order.
Thank you very much. Motion has been made by Councilor Johnston. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Hewitt. Any discussion or comments on this item? Okay, roll call vote. Councilor Edwards?
Yes.
Councilor Parks?
Yes.
Councilor Doyle?
Yes.
Councilor Onen?
Yes.
Councilor Gale?
Yes.
Councilor Hewitt?
Yes.
Councilor Johnston?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0 to close the public hearing at 8:13. Okay, that completes the new action items this evening. Moving on to item 10, new business. Item A is a draft memorandum of understanding between the City of Saco, Maine, and the University of New England Wave Gauge. And doing the presentation on that.
There was a presentation provided to the City Council about the opportunity to purchase wave gauges and a partnership with UNE on collecting data for those wave gauges. And UNE, is my understanding, would also help us maintain the equipment. Based on that presentation, which was on January 12th, we have, in city administration, worked with UNE representatives to come up with a draft MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. We've gone a little bit back and forth about making sure that the correct provisions are in there, as well as sharing it with our insurance agency and legal reviewer. So we're in a pretty good spot. There are probably some final changes that you'll see on the draft that will come before you for your one reading for February 9th, if you choose to move forward. But we wanted to share with you where we were at today and keep you updated.
Great, thank you. Anyone have any questions or comments regarding the MOU? Councilor Johnston.
Thank you. Yeah, I read through the proposal, and obviously we had the presentation. I don't have too much to add, but one suggestion I have And it may not be necessary, but I didn't see it clearly defined. But in the event UNE terminates the agreement or we don't renew it, perhaps there should be a provision that would create a training scenario for whatever Saco designee would take over that equipment. I just could see a potential situation where we have this equipment and nobody in the city has the experience on how to operate it. I think, in that situation, it would make sense for Saco to continue, collecting this data as we move forward with the Army Corps project. So that was really it.
Okay, great, thank you. We do have that noted down. Anyone else? Okay, not seeing anyone. So yes, this will be brought back February 9th. Yep, for the final one reading. Okay, so that completes new business. Item number 11 is administrative update. Deputy Administrator Prescott.
Thank you. We look forward to helping with supported entities budget requests. We have been receiving questions and we've been providing answers along the way. The form is due on February 9th, 2026, and it can be found on the city's website at sacomaine.org/departments/finance. We do have some warming center reminders that you can find online. If there are expanded hours or other warming facilities are established for an extreme cold weather event, we will share that notice as broadly as possible online on physical signboards and with local media. Parking ban information, we have had some parking bans lately, so just a friendly reminder that you can find that online from the city's website at sacomaine.org, and you can find a map and list of public parking options available for Saco residents should a parking ban be issued. And you can also sign up for email alerts to be notified directly next time a parking ban is issued. Another friendly reminder that will be closed Monday, February 16th for observance of President's Day, and you can do many business still online if you want to check that out at sacomaine.org. And upcoming council meetings are on February 9th and February 23rd. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments for the Deputy Administrator? Okay, not seeing any. Moving on to item 12, that is council discussion and comment. Any councilors wishing to share? Councilor Johnston?
Thank you. See, I got several things, but I also have notes all over the place. I guess firstly, I just wanted to thank those that have stepped forward to these multiple appointments tonight. Yeah, it's not easy to volunteer, and I think we have a pretty good or great mix of individuals with various backgrounds, and a lot of them seem to be newer to Saco, so I think that's a step in the right direction, and I just wanted to say I appreciated them. But as a side note to that, to you, Madam Mayor, just if council could have an update on what vacancies do exist currently. I know we have a citizen vacancy on traffic safety since Councilor Gale is now up here with us, just so we could potentially assist you in finding or filling some of these roles.
Yep, so we do have, did you want to do it now, or I can send an email with a quick update?
Sure, where we're at with that.
Okay,
just,
perfect, thank you.
As we're all out there, maybe we can make some suggestions to individuals. I wanted to mirror that request that we update online with these packets that we received. If the city received these in digital format, I don't know, but obviously I guess we could make a copy and have them added to the minutes as part of the record. Let's see. Now back to the actual things. I wanted to recognize DPW crews. Obviously, we've had a lot of snow this winter so far. It's pretty difficult, as we all know in our own lives, to put that snow somewhere, and it piled up rather quickly. But I was very pleased to see that the city DPW crews spent the evenings last Wednesday, I believe it was, removing the snow altogether. So the downtown is very walkable. So again, that's something I not just myself, appreciate, but I know the business owners and other residents of the downtown have noted that it was, remarkable how quick, I think it was maybe 3 or 4 days after that big storm that the snow was taken care of. Well, we had plenty of talk about traffic safety tonight. I guess I would ask in that realm for some kind of presentation. I feel like there was a lot of, I want to say, misperceptions of plan that was presented to traffic safety. I'm hearing 4 lanes down to 2 lanes, but my understanding is it's actually down to 3 lanes with the center turning lane, which is different when you actually look at how it's to be implemented. But clearly there was a lack of outreach. And again, I'm not placing blame in any one location. I'll take some credit. I probably, as a council liaison, should have been more proactive getting that information out there to the public. But like I said, we clearly have rattled some long-standing businesses in Saco, and having some level of discussion that includes more of their feedback probably would be beneficial to us all. But again, in that same realm, traffic safety, did want to give an update to council that we are currently developing some SOPs. I know previously I had mentioned that we were starting to work through or create SOPs that we had lacked for as long as I've been on traffic safety, to be honest with you, as far as how we implement traffic calming devices like the blinking beacons or the bollards, crosswalks, in order to make it a more appropriate and equitable manner, while also taking obviously the costs into account. And that's something that we will begin Thursday this week. And I think we're hoping to have that in place by later this spring. But I did want to also mention to council that for several years now, I've been reviewing that chapter 211, Article 5, which is what governs the Traffic Safety Committee. And it certainly is, again, my opinion, in need of some updating improvements. I think it dates back to 1995 without really any substantial changes outside of adding residents to it. And those are things I've been drafting over the last 3 or 4 years, and I'm hoping to bring some of those changes forward probably after the budget cycle. So just wanted to make you aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilor Hewitt?
I just have a question. If the planning board's, if an adjacent abutter to your property is making changes, you're notified in writing. And I know there were outreaches and attempts to notify people. My question is, obviously some people did not get the information. Was if people were, they were lacking in understanding of the content, or should we implement a procedure where if a road is going to change, I mean, sometimes we don't have control because the state controls the road, but should we notify those properties or should the state? And is there currently a procedure?
Madam Mayor, could I just comment? That actually goes to part of what I was saying with traffic safety ordinance. There really is no provision currently to notice abutters. Now, the city has tried their best when a project is, abutting your house to notice them. But I think when you have, again, I could be wrong, it's just my perception, when you have a larger project like this, there wasn't potentially a thought to say we're going to notice every single property along that stretch. That's just my thinking. Now, like I said, I think that going forward, if we were to update that section of the code, we probably should put provisions for noticing, because it's not the first time we've had that, or I've heard it from traffic safety, but we do have a public, there was comments there that said that it seemed as though it was intentional to shut down public input, which again, just from my perspective, we have always had the ability to comment on any item, and generally we've given, at the end of our agenda, anyone in the public wants to raise their hand and speak, they can. So it wasn't No, again, if they're not there, they can't speak, right? And that's part of the problem, but everything's always been very transparent in that way if you're present for them. I think you all know me. I wouldn't be shutting anybody down if they had something to say, so.
Yeah. Thank you, Councilor Johnston, for adding to that. But also, Deputy Administrator Prescott and I, we met with Mr. Poland this afternoon before the meeting, and we're going to verify the list that we have to make sure that notices had gone out. And again, like you said, this was not advertised last year as Road Diet. This was advertised as Route 1 Master Plan. So there could have been some potential miscommunication in what was actually being presented. There were several meetings that were advertised on the government Facebook page, economic development, and Emily, we emailed, so making sure that addresses are updated within the system, making sure that we have correct email addresses is the best, and so we are going to go back and just do some verification and see who may have been missed or what information had gone out. So, but again, it was a series of community input as well as business. So we had two different sets of meetings specifically targeted to both groups prior to the traffic safety coming through, and it was information gathering. But yeah, we will be looking at that going forward. Okay, anyone else?
Mayor McPhail.
Yes, Councilor Doyle.
Thank you. First off, I'd like to thank the Saco community, the residents of Ward 3 specifically, some of them in the audience tonight, for putting their faith in me and braving the 144 people that braved the cold day to come out and vote at the Saco Recreational Center. So again, I just want to thank you. I'm truly humbled and honored to serve the community again. So thank you for that. With that said, I would like to dive right in. There's a lot of things affecting Ward 3 tonight. We've heard about some through different varying factors, but I'd like to get an update as to when we will see a moratorium extension or how that's going to play out as we move forward. When will we see that on the agenda?
So right now, the current moratorium is set to expire on the 13th of February. The 9th is the anticipated date. Next Monday night, it would be back for the extension. We have 60 days remaining on the original emergency moratorium. That is what we're going to put forward to enact. Then after that, that's pending. The mediation gives them the time to see if we do get the 51%, what happens with that. Then after that, we'll be able to go into the next set, if that 60 days happens to run out. But we're going to finish up the original, and it will be brought next Monday.
Thank you. And I know there's been some communication, although I have not been given city access to email yet, so it's been through the administrative assistance, and I do want to thank everybody for that. Everyone's been very good about getting me information. But with that, there's been a lot of questions and requests, really, for a rent stabilization ordinance in the entire community. And it's something that's near and dear to me and probably most of you as well, because my predecessor here was forced out due to a rent increase by the landlord. And so I think this is something that, it's not just affecting Blue Haven community, it's affecting the community as a whole. And I do believe if we're going to be keepers of our word and we're going to mean what we say and say what we mean, we can't talk out of both sides of our mouths. Meaning, if we want people to age in their home, we want people to stay in their home, we need to help make that happen. And how we can do that is a rent stabilization ordinance that gives, just like we do a budget for the community and we do budgets for our homes, a rent stabilization ordinance would give those folks, renters, the ability to do their own budget for years to come. They'll know what they're looking at for potential increases moving forward. So again, it's something we should really take a look at, and I know there's been requests on it, but I haven't seen any further communication, so I do want to kind of put that on the council's radar.
Yep, appreciate that, and we do have it noted down for future discussions. Okay, anyone else? Okay, not seeing any. Moving on to item 13, we do not have an executive session this evening. We are going to postpone and move with the absence of City Administrator Pelletier this evening. It is information that we want to make sure that he is completely up to date on, so we will be holding that, I believe, on the 23rd?
Yes, I believe
Yep.
so.
So that will come back on the 23rd. So item 14, so there is no report. Item 15 is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilor Edwards, second by Councilor Hewitt? Yep. Great, thank you. Roll call vote. Councilor Edwards?
Yes.
Councilor Parks?
Yes.
Councilor Doyle?
Yes.
Councilor Onen?
Yes.
Councilor Gale?
Yes.
Councilor Hewitt?
Yes.
Councilor Johnston?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn passes 7-0 at 8:30 PM. Thank you, everyone, and have a great evening.